Malaysia, an emerging Asian economy aspiring to move towards pursuing technology-based economic growth. In this special episode, Gadget Nation takes a step further to look at the Malaysian technology startup ecosystem. Because when it comes to web and mobile innovation, technology startups has the potential to create scalable products catered to the global market. We speak to several personalities from Malaysian startup community in Klang Valley, with the hope that through their collective voices, more would be inspired to take the leap in joining the technology startup movement that could further facilitate our economic growth.
There's huge opportunity for all kinds of things. Malaysia is a very green market still. We have a very small percentage of the population that are actually involved in the technology sector, but we have a huge consumer base. We mostly rely on foreign products, foreign websites, foreign everything, and I think that's a huge opportunity for local companies to jump in and fill the void, not just here but around the region as well.
I think most people in the tech scene, the startup scene, they know that there's a lot of government-led initiatives to try to create that ecosystem by putting in like money incentives and stuff, or creating kind of like incubator programs and stuff. I think they do have a certain amount of value, but what is really missing is the collaboration part, the socializing part, the networking part, which you can't engineer an artificial like program or ecosystem out of. You actually need to create reasons for gathering together. You need to bridge the divide between those who have got the high level knowledge, the medium level knowledge and the lower level knowledge, and get them to mingle and talk and discuss and collaborate. In fact, some of the best ideas will probably be hatched out of like a teh tarik session or something like that, where somebody just makes fun and joke, but those jokes can actually become serious business ideas.
Well, firstly, Malaysia actually has some amazing talent. The problem is, this amazing talent isn't getting the right kind of support. Now, they're getting support. The government has done some really good initiatives, but I noticed that a lot of really good talent are leaving. In the last 3 months, for example, I've had 3 entrepreneurial friends of mine move their companies to Singapore or Taiwan, or even the United States. And I guess the reason for this is because while Malaysia does have, and the government is putting a lot of initiative in supporting local tech talent, some other countries have developed better branding around their support infrastructure.
There's lots of different views, I think, going around at the moment. The reason I'm here, the reason I'm still here for so long, is because I really believe that we have the potential. I don't think we've had our bubble yet. I think America's had our bubble and should have taught us a lot of lessons that we can learn from. And I truly believe that there's a lot of potential here in Malaysia. We've not touched that yet. We're nowhere close reaching that point, but we still have the capability to do so.
If you look into the startup scene in Malaysia, it's pretty vibrant compared to a couple of years ago, mainly because there are a couple of trends, strong trends that are coming up. The social network trends, where you can spread your message easily to everywhere and quickly. The group one trend, where people are educated in buying things online. Therefore, I see a lot more entrepreneurs popping up in Klang Valley trying to make their money.
There's actually a surprisingly passionate local technology community. I think what's been lacking over the years is a sustained community meeting place. We've had things like MyOSS in the past, but it died down and then it was brought back and it died down again.
I think a lot of activities have been happening in the tech community. I think it started with the Silicon Valley event coming to Malaysia. I think it actually garnered a lot of interest from the community itself, not only from the tech community but also other communities. And seeing that Malaysian companies can actually do good, not only just in Malaysia but also outside of Malaysia. So it's a thriving community, but I'm sure we can do more.
Because of all of this success, your Facebook IPOs, your Instagram selling at $1 billion, it's crazy not to want to take a piece of that pie, right? How does that translate in the region? You just have to open up a page of The Verge or TechCrunch or Mashable even, and you'll see that there's just an influx of interest in this region. It's big, this region. It's a hugely addressable market. everybody's getting connected, and these are all these conditions. You've heard of the perfect storm, right? This is the conditions of a perfect storm for the tech industry, but in a good way, All of these things coming together around the same time, they make people want to start, they make people want to do things.
Technology infrastructure in Malaysia is, especially in KL, is much better than where I come from. So if somebody wants to start a tech startup here in Malaysia, of course people can go online and learn to code, but if you really want to do it, to take things in high speed, you can always find the technology co-founder. There are lots of people, talented people in KL.
Technology today is allowed entrepreneurs a platform where they can do a business compared to in the past where, let's say brick and mortar businesses, you will require quite a lot of funding, a lot of money, it needs to, a lot of capital needs to be plowed into any business. Whereas in today's economy, a lot of it is idea driven. If you have a brilliant idea, you can bring that idea to market relatively quickly. I would say in a way relatively cheaply as well, if you invest a lot of your own time, if you have the capabilities to bring these things to market.
Okay, firstly, there are tons of opportunities. I mean, the fact is starting a tech company right now doesn't really require much. Mind Valley was started for about 2,000 ringgit. That's really our entire startup cost. And now with the mobile revolution, if you have talent, it's a lot easier to get started. The problem is actually making money. Even to get a web app up right now, to make it successful, most web apps don't make that much money. To even get a chance at success, you're going to need about $30,000 to invest in marketing, advertising, and building a team. Now, fortunately, in Malaysia, if you are talented, if you are one of those talented few, angel investment is easy to come by. You just have to know the right channels to approach.
I think a lot of people limit themselves to just the Malaysian market. It's not sustainable. If you look at the Malaysian market, it's very much smaller than let's say the American market. If you're a small startup and you launch something in the US, you have several 100 million people as your subscriber base. Whereas in Malaysia, you have 22.7 million. It's a small percentage of that is your actual online base. So going global is, I think, the biggest problem a lot of people have.
In Malaysia, there are a lot more challenges compared to Singapore. Singapore, there's more funding. Things are more clear-cut compared to Malaysia. In Malaysia, it's tougher for entrepreneurs, but we do groom good entrepreneurs because the environment is tougher. So the good entrepreneurs are really good because they've gone through the process of learning their ways and surviving and getting revenue first. In terms of challenges compared to other countries, is mainly because of the environment here. Because there are more regional HQs in Singapore, so there are more opportunities for Singapore companies to grow regionally or globally. And because Singapore is a much smaller country than Malaysia, their entrepreneurs are equipped with a certain thinking that if they need to be successful, they need to be regional, they need to be global immediately. Whereas our entrepreneurs might have a local mindset and say, look, I just want to focus on Malaysia. Culturally, we are fragmented so that your target market is not like a homogeneous market where you can just target one demographics and then you have a lot of people. We have different cultures, different races, so it's a much smaller market than most people think.
Coming up after the break.
Co-working spaces like us, or even entrepreneurs like me, or venture capitalists for that matter, are not interested in an idea. They are interested in the people that are willing to bring an idea to life. I always have this belief that ideas are dime a dozen. Unless you are willing to take that idea and make an effort to bring it to market, co-working spaces like us, or even entrepreneurs like me, or venture capitalists for that matter, are not interested in an idea. They are interested in the people that are willing to bring an idea to life.
The lack of faith we have in each other, our inability to share. We have a lot of people doing a lot of the same things, and it all seems like we're working against each other rather than working with each other. There's that that fabled myth of not wanting to share ideas. I have so many conversations with people that want to start businesses or claim to be entrepreneurs, and when you talk about what they're doing, it's like they shut down. It's like, I can't tell you that, it's a secret. I think this is a big mentality problem we need to overcome, because until we can start talking to people about our ideas, we can't have conversation. But I think that's one of the reasons we started Hacker as well, to try and overcome that, or at least do something. And there's a lot of people trying to help in this area. If only those people came together and really made maybe a stronger, more powerful movement together, we might actually get over the hurdles and get somewhere.
Ideas could be good, they could be bad, it doesn't matter. It's all got to do with one thing, and that's the mindset. So what I look at really are not ideas, I look at people.
Entrepreneurs that want to start up their own company with regards to technology, should look at new ideas, coming up with new ways of actually addressing some of the current products that we have right now.
If you're going to work in isolation, then you're going to think that my idea is the best idea in the world. But if you start to come out, if you are willing to share that idea, willing to present your ideas in events such as Hacker, or willing to share your ideas in other forums, there's a higher chance of meeting somebody out there who might have a different perspective to add to that idea. And by doing that, then I believe you have a much better chance in succeeding.
Come to webcam, bring your ideas that you've been sitting on for I don't know how long, right? Share it with the techies. Be open to criticism. Ideas are really cheap. I'd rather people come, share their idea, maybe get joked on and say, oh, blah, 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 but that will help you pivot and sharpen your idea more. Or maybe, just maybe, you can convince somebody that your idea is really good, and then you suddenly find somebody who can help you implement it and execute it in return for equity. I mean, to incubate a new startup idea, you're really not looking for money and hire tech people. You want to convince a techie to say, I need you to help me refine this idea, improve this idea, make it better, or to bounce the idea to make it a really feasible product. That's something that we've been doing a lot, cross-pollination, bringing people who are not necessarily traditionally in a tech field, but they are full of ideas, and a lot of them are very pragmatic and practical type of ideas. They solve a very real problem. I think that's the real power, that's the real opportunity here that we want to bring to Malaysia, and hopefully set a blueprint for most developing nations. If you've been joining to any of these other startup events, you find that everybody's looking for a co-founder, everybody's looking for a CDO and stuff and so on and so forth. But these sort of partnerships, if you think about it, I'm really trying to convince you to join my company for almost like no money and stuff, for equity purpose. Those things don't get done in a conference and stuff. It's really it's about like weeks and months of friendship. You've been hanging out for a year or 2 years. I know you, you know me, you know what I do, you know my background. Then we say, oh, you know what? There's this idea that sound cool. Let's partner together and do it together. There's a lot of trust vested already when you have a more sociable, more social type of event, more casual type of atmosphere.
Okay, well, let's talk about business accelerators or incubators, right? I don't think there are any good ones in Malaysia, at least not world-class. And one reason I feel that way is because the ones that I look at provide space or they provide funding, but again, that main ingredient I mentioned, mentorship, connections to people who have actually done it, that's missing. The reason Silicon Valley works is not so much about the money or the location, it's because there are so many smart mentors in Silicon Valley who are able to mentor the younger generation. One successful entrepreneur creates dozens more by serving as a mentor and an inspiration. That's what's missing in Malaysia. The successful entrepreneurs are disconnected from the local community, and that's something that we're looking to change. We're looking to bring them together to help inspire and mentor that new generation.
There are a lot of opportunities if you look into the devices that you have. You have the tablet, you have the smartphone, a lot more people access the internet, a lot more Gen Y are spending more and more time online, and they are spending less time on traditional media. Therefore, these new driving forces are providing opportunities for entrepreneurs to tap on it. And for entrepreneurs, what I'll say is that if you look into opportunities, don't look into the latest trend where the US is going to a certain area. Look into the US 5 years before today, and you see that Malaysia is going up that trend because Malaysia is slightly slower compared to our neighbouring countries, especially the developed countries. Certain thing that works 5 years ago can work in Malaysia now. One of the things is e-commerce. E-commerce is going to be bigger in Malaysia, and there are many players coming in, venturing into the e-commerce space.
The challenges right now is that we may not have enough role models to go around. We have a lot of role models when it comes to like big company CEOs like Idris Jala, Tony Fernandez, but we still haven't really exposed some of the small businesses in Malaysia to act as inspiration for local entrepreneurs. Even like people like those who are in the tech space, is like in the web 1.5 age, is probably like Lelong.com and everything. It's like I can't really. It's like I'm just cracking my head to think about like inspiring people. And honestly, it's like this is not a good thing.
There is ample avenue of opportunities for people to actually meet up and team up to build a product. When I look at these different communities existing in Malaysia, especially Klang Valley, it's just a matter of time before someone come up with a new idea, or actually coming up with a new idea addressing an old problem, for instance. No? So with the intermarriage of developers, business ideas and whatnot, then it's possible.
Coming up after the break.
We sat down and we said, what would you want as a developer, as a designer, as a maker of the tech that people use to come together and make your awesomest event that you can imagine?
The nature of the tech industry in Asia or Malaysia is that those who are really good at tech, they tend to be employed in professional capacity. They're paid really well, and most of the time they do end up working longer hours as well. So to try to convince them to come out and socialize is already a bit of a barrier. I would say that slowly but surely they do come, and that's why webcam is so persistent and consistent every month.
Well, building a passionate core community is essential, I think. It breeds better skills, better overall innovation, development. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're a designer or developer or business person. If you meet with like-minded people and you allow that passion to sort of, you feed off each other's passion, it just makes everything better in general. And webcam has really helped do that.
For me, the best way to drive the whole ecosystem is by face-to-face interaction, and I think webcam was just the perfect ground, the perfect melting pot for everybody to gather, to meet like-minded people and just collaborate with each other.
The KL Mug user group at the moment has reached a good size where we can now start spreading out a little bit. We're planning to start a group in Singapore and Indonesia, and the hope is to try and get these three groups to connect and work on things together to create an Asian scene more. And the good thing that we have for Malaysia is we're at the front of that. When looking at the other surrounding countries such as Philippines, such as Indonesia, such as Singapore, Malaysia is leading the way with MongoDB. So there's that in Hackerbacker. Hackerbacker is trying to get people to work together again. Perhaps I shouldn't have done it on my own. Perhaps we should be joining forces with other people that are doing the same thing, but we have to start somewhere. So.
Hack Weekend started in July 2011. It was an event that came together at, I think it was Foursquare Day if I'm not mistaken, where a couple of developers were complaining about how there's so many events in this tech scene, but they're not for techies. They're tech events that have a bunch of marketing people that talk about the next startup getting funded, but nobody really talks about the nitty-gritty, how do you make things happen. We sat down and we said, what would you want as a developer, as a designer, as a maker of the tech that people use to come together and make your awesomest event that you can imagine. Hack Weekend was born not long after. That was super fun. Making an event customizing an event for developers and working with developers to do it. So that's what Hack Weekend is. It's 24 hours, developer haven as it were.
Pitching is a crowdfunding site, and being a crowdfunding site is actually making available funding to entrepreneurs, to project owners. And these fundings come from people. They don't come from the government, they don't come from agencies or organizations, they come from people. Crowdfunding is not new. In the US it's quite big. But in the US itself, there are stories of how difficult it was for these companies or these project owners to actually get funding. But when they go to a crowdfunding site and they start telling people what they're doing, now people come in throngs putting in money. I think it's the right time here in Malaysia to do that. It's going to be challenging to actually get Malaysians to have that mindset. And we feel that crowdfunding sites like Pitchin would actually then play a role in terms of sustaining the ecosystem here in Malaysia.
So we are launching our own initiative. It's called Project Renaissance. It's completely privately funded right now. And what we're looking to do is to help spark new entrepreneurial ideas in Malaysia. And we are currently starting 20 different groups, all related to entrepreneurs. So we have a group for iOS developers. We have a group called Webcam for web app developers. We have groups for designers, groups for copywriters, groups for aspiring entrepreneurs, groups for people who want to learn the art of public speaking. These groups are all being started by people who work at Mindvalley or people who are, partners of Mindvalley. But we open these groups up to the public. All of them are completely free. Mindvalley then provides the meeting space for these groups. And almost every day, there's a group meeting in our space. Now, what happens when these groups meet up? Well, ideas get exchanged. And this is why we call it Project Renaissance. What sparked the innovation in Italy in the 14th century was smart people coming together in one location, Florence. We are creating a Florence within Kuala Lumpur, pulling together Malaysia's smartest minds into these groups that meet every night and discuss new innovations in design, new innovations in web, new innovations in mobile apps.
If it's a question of should I, if it's a question of how do I leave this comfortable job and make the jump, obviously you first need that passion. If you have that passion, it should speak for itself. If you're young and you have the opportunities to take the adventure, do it. You're not going to have those opportunities later when you get married and have children, or they might become difficult to convince your spouse that you should be doing these things. So really, if you have the opportunity and the passion, it should speak for itself. You should be doing it while you can. You could always fall back to a more comfortable, stable job at some other point. So you do it while you can.
So a lot of times we have had to tell these entrepreneurs or these people with ideas and say that rather than sit around and wait for a programmer and whatnot, why don't you learn to program? Maybe why don't you just give it a shot, try it out, get your hands a bit dirty. Then when you do say, oh, I'm going to hire a freelancer now, I'm going to outsource this, you will be able to speak the correct language. You'll be able to know that what they're saying, what they're quoting me is a very tough thing to do, and I should pay that much and stuff and so on and so forth. So just by raising a bit of that technology knowledge baseline would already help accelerate some of these entrepreneurs and just get them out of their comfort zone and start applying or aim towards a minimum viable product that they've been sitting on for like sometimes years.
You carry with you a unique bit of insight into whatever you're doing. You probably more than once have come up with this, I think I can do this better. I think I see an opportunity there. That's your special skill. And I think a lot of people are saying that now I have this, there are tools for me to actualize this thinking. And then I see all of these success examples. Not bad lah, we can start. So that's kind of the thinking. This is the thinking that I'm seeing more and more often.
Don't allow yourself to be exploited. At the same time, don't close your mind towards the opportunities offered by startups, because having worked at a startup myself and currently running a startup, it's been the most exciting, fun times of my life. Hard, yes, but I think it's definitely paid off. It's helped me grow as a person, as a developer, as a business person as well. So go for it.
With the explosion of the internet and we have web apps, we have mobile apps and everything, the ecosystem is totally open up to everybody who is willing to put in the time and effort. I don't see why people can't really embrace all the free tools, all the resources that's available for free on the internet, and just do something great.
In most cases, a lot of entrepreneurs that I've seen have the old mindset that, okay, I need to gather customer requirement, I need to do the product first, then I only do my marketing, then I only talk to the customer. Technology moves so fast. But if you follow that process, by the time you go to market, the timing might has been gone. So why not build something simple, test it out first, get feedback, and then come back again and say, okay, I'll improve on this because there is really a market.
The whole thing is that the risks you take are worthwhile at the end. I mean, if somebody wants to start a startup, and if somebody cannot commit fully onto the startup, maybe to work part-time on it, like you work on a daytime job and then you go back and work on the startup. So it depends on the situation. So there is no general advice I can say, just do this and you become successful. It depends on, for each and every case it's different. But the one advice I can give you is just to keep on trying, because failure is the only way you can succeed. There is no such thing as overnight success. There is no such thing.